Welcome everybody to the Yacht Broker Masterclass free webinar. And as usual, I'd ask you to let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm assuming that everything's working fine. But this time it's a particular issue actually, because this time last week, I was in St. Thomas. I'd been filming a super yacht off the island of St. Thomas, and I decided to take a few days off. And I went swimming every day, which I don't very often do. And as a result, I now have ear infections in both ears. My hearing is at about 20% of what it should be. I can only just hear my own voice. So I need you to let me know if I'm talking too loudly, too quietly, or if everything's coming across okay. With Fort Lauderdale Boat Show coming up next week, it's a bit of a nuisance. I'm hoping that the infections will have resolved themselves by then. I'm taking everything I can think of for them. But that's my sorry story for today. And just to explain, if I'm speaking too loud or too quietly, that's the reason why. I'd originally wanted to do this webinar as a yacht insurance special, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get together with the yacht insurance people in time. And so I took advantage of the fact that I had a really good question asked to me on my other YouTube channel. On the Yachts for Sale YouTube channel, some time ago, I produced a series of videos called Breaking into Brokerage. And it was maybe 3 years ago now that I published them, but I still get a lot of people watching them. And one particular viewer said to me, can you tell me the 5 biggest challenges for new yacht brokers? I thought, what a good question, and a good question to use as the topic for this webinar today. So the question itself assumes that somebody is already a yacht broker, that they've got themselves into a position where they're working for a brokerage company, and asks what the biggest challenges are. So I sat down, I wrote a few challenges. Challenge number 5, I think, will make you laugh, but will also resonate with a lot of people as being a very real challenge in yacht brokerage. And as always, if you have any questions along the way, either about this topic or anything else, feel free to make a note, put it in the live chat, and I'll do my best to answer it for you. Challenge number 1 for new yacht brokers is, without a doubt, getting your first sale. It takes time and you need to be patient with it. When I first became a yacht broker, which was close to 20 years ago now, it was 17 years ago, I spoke to somebody who's a very successful broker, and they said to me, David, make sure you've got enough money in the bank to survive 2 years without a sale, because it will take 2 years to get the sale, which was quite a sobering thought. Now, as it happened, the contract that I did as a broker gave me a very small income, a salary, and a very small cut of the commission. That's quite a popular formula for becoming a yacht broker. At least you have the security of knowing that you have money coming in every month, and you get something of the commission on any yacht that you sell. The first yacht that I sold, which by the way was more or less 1 year after I became a yacht broker, I then switched to no salary and a much bigger cut of the commission, which on reflection was definitely the right thing to do. I was even more motivated to get sales, and the bigger commissions, of course, were more financially rewarding for me. On reflection, I don't think the advice that I was given was necessarily true. I don't think it does take 2 years to sell your first yacht, but I do think it's good to prepare for the worst and to hope or to work for the best. So if you are financially in a position that you can go for 2 years without a sale, that's great, and all force to you, all strength to you for that. But for most people, the best option is to work for a salary until you get that first sale, if you're with a brokerage company that will allow you to do that. You should also arrive at your job, at your new career, as prepared as you possibly can. Even if you can have just one central agency yacht for sale when you become a broker, I wouldn't say it's a guarantee of getting paid something, but you're certainly increasing your chances. If you arrive at a new business in a new yacht brokerage and you have no clients to buy or to sell, naturally it's going to take you longer and you're going to need to be patient. So that is definitely the first challenge for new brokers. The second one, quite simply, is that of networking. Networking is such a big part of the industry. And if anybody here does take the Yacht Broker Masterclass course, I talk extensively about the people that you need to network with. It has to be a part of the business. You have to be able to network with other brokers. not just in your own company, but outside of your own company. They will bring you in so much more business if you have some kind of relationship with them. And networking comes down to meeting them for lunch, going to events, going out for a drink with them and having a chat with them. You need to find a way that you're comfortable with to network. And that is a challenge. You won't like everybody that you meet in the industry, but you do need to network with them and have some sort of relationship with them still. The third challenge is overcoming discouragement. Yacht brokerage is an absolute emotional roller coaster. You can think that you've sold a yacht and it's not sold at all. And it's maybe one of the biggest mistakes that I see yacht brokers make, and not even just new yacht brokers or young yacht brokers, but actually brokers with some experience and business people with some experience. You can believe that you've just sold a yacht and made $1 million. You can start to spend it in your mind. You can get to the day of handover and it all falls apart. And if that happens to you a few times, that is tremendously discouraging. My advice on this is never believe that you've sold the yacht until you've been paid your commission. Always be aware that the sale can fall through, because otherwise, if you get your hopes and expectations up to this huge level, I've just sold a yacht, and then it all comes crashing around you, the discouragement, actually, to be honest, depression that can result from it is a genuine challenge for new brokers. Quick story on that. And I won't say the name of the shipyard because I don't want to embarrass them. They do a good job of embarrassing themselves fairly regularly. But one particular shipyard had bought a 170-foot yacht to a boat show not that many years ago. And, they built it. They hadn't been able to sell it. It had been around for a little while. And so it was starting to depreciate. And at the end of the boat show, I said to the sales director, who's an experienced guy in the industry, how did the show go? He goes, couldn't have gone better. We've sold the boat. I said, really? That's amazing. What was it, a client you're already working on from before the boat show? No. Walk on clients. They bought the boat in the 5 days of this boat show. Well, we have a letter of intent. I said, look, I almost gave away his name then. I said, look, so-and-so. Was the letter of intent accompanied with a deposit? No, but they're going to meet us in La Spezia next week to sea trial the vessel. I said, you're going to let them sea trial the vessel without having any money off of them at all? Anyway, long story short, it was just a chancer who came onto the yacht, said that he wanted to buy it, got himself a free boat trip in La Spezia the following week, and then, of course, disappeared. But in the mind of the sales director, in spite of his experience, he believed the yacht was sold just based on the word of this person. The yacht is not sold until the buyer has paid his money, the seller has received his money, and you've got your commission. Then you can celebrate. But that's a big challenge for new brokers and, to be honest, old brokers as well. Getting your hopes up, starting to celebrate a sale that's actually not really happened at all. The fourth of the 5 challenges, and by the way, I'm not seeing any comments in the live chat. I don't know if that's because you don't have any questions, but if you can leave some comment, just let me know that it's working. That would be great. Fourth challenge that I've written down is the financial challenge. Now, I don't know, people who are watching this webinar, what your personal circumstances are. It may be that you're quite well established financially, and you can go a period of time without making very much money until that first yacht sale and subsequent yacht sales come in. But for many people, that's not the case at all. As I mentioned earlier, when I first started as a broker, I took a small wage and waited for my first commission before I then went on commission only. But the reason that yacht brokerage is particularly tough for startup brokers who may be getting a small wage or no wage at all is that you're surrounded by successful people who are making millions and millions and millions of dollars. And you'll see people who you admire and you want to be like, with an amazing home, maybe several homes, a fantastic car collection, being able to just go out to great restaurants and drop a couple of $1,000s to go out with their mates, drinking and eating. And it's not a healthy place to be if you're not in that situation. And I see so many young brokers trying to live the life of a successful broker financially before they've actually made it and before they're actually in a position financially to do that. On the whole, they seem to battle their way through and get there in the end, but they put so much extra stress upon themselves. In my opinion, for a new broker who's struggling financially, they shouldn't be ashamed of that at all. They're investing in themselves, they're investing in their time, they're doing something they believe that in the long run will pay, and it usually does. But why put yourself under that extra stress of trying to live the life of people who are already successful and already making, maybe $1 million or more a year? So that's a big challenge. Thanks, by the way, Henrik, for confirming that the chat's working. So the first four were being patient with getting your first sale. It takes time. Networking. If you're not naturally a social butterfly, that can be a big challenge, but it's an important part of the business. Not being discouraged when sales fall apart was the third challenge, because they will fall apart and it can be quite devastating. It can even lead to depression if it happens many times. So that's somewhat of a challenge. The fourth one was financial. You're surrounded by people who are making a lot of money, who are very successful, and it's easy to forget that it took them time to reach that success level. So don't get discouraged as well by the financial aspect of it. Budget yourself. But the fifth challenge, and it's a very real challenge, and it will make you smile, but hopefully you'll agree with me. Drink is one of the biggest challenges for yacht brokers. Let me give you an example of that. I'm this week at the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show, and I put on my calendar yesterday certain events that I want to go to. So Monday evening, we have the Northrop & Johnson Captain's Cocktail Dinner, and I want to go to that because I want to support the company. Wednesday evening, we have the opening cocktail evening events for the boat show. Thursday evening, I'll be invited to a cocktail party for my friends at Naughty Styles, who are representing bearing yachts in the United States. And I want to support them. I want to be there. And I like them. I like being with them. So I definitely want to go to that as well. Friday evening, I'm invited to a cocktail party at an estate for a television network that I'm doing some business with. And I really want to meet the people in person that I've been doing business with, because so far it's all been done online. So I have a genuine reason to be at all of these cocktail dinners, all these cocktail parties. But it's so easy to just get drunk every single night. And that is a problem that many brokers have. The alcohol intake of brokers, for many brokers, is completely off the scales. And I quite often see in the south of France, guys who've been yacht brokers in their late 60s, early 70s, sitting on their own in a wine bar with a red nose and a glass of red wine. And I look at them and I think, I don't want to end up like that. I've already got the red nose. I don't want to then be sitting on my own, just drinking all day. But it's very easy for the yacht brokerage business to drag you down that line. Networking is so important, and alcohol very often associates networking. And let's face it, after a little bit of drink, things come out, you learn a lot. But for me, it's a constant challenge. And for many yacht brokers, it is that I want to be able to enjoy the social side, but not to constantly getting completely smashed. Actually, this last year, I made a big effort with my health, because I'm now in my late 50s. So I'll soon, before I know it, be in my 60s. And if I don't look after my health now, I'm not going to be able to benefit from all of the hard work that I've done, the great social media presence that I've got, the being able to keep the masterclass going. I'm now enjoying work in a way that I never have to this degree in the past. So I need to look after my health. And I think that's something that a lot of brokers will identify with. I talk quite openly with my friends about this sort of thing, and they all agree with me that drink is probably the biggest devil, the biggest challenge for brokerage. Just finding that balance between going out and enjoying yourself and not constantly getting smashed and destroying your health. So those are my 5 challenges for new yacht brokers. I hope you enjoyed them. I see Nick Hodges. Thanks for joining us, Nick. Hi, David. As a yacht designer and naval architect, how much influence do brokers have on the clients with a new build, with suggesting a specific designer and naval architect? This is a very good question. And I think if I'm trying to think of the experience I had with that, I think all that a broker can do is introduce their clients to various designers. That's what I've done in the past. Influencing who they choose is next to impossible, really. I mean, you can certainly say if you feel that a designer is incompetent, but there's not that many incompetent designers in the yachting industry. Most yacht designers know what they're doing, and I would be happy to put in front of a client. But once you've given a selection of yacht designers to your clients, it's very much their feeling on whether they like the aesthetics of a certain design or not, and you won't be able to push them down one particular route. So I hope that answers your question. I do think, Nick, as a yacht designer and naval architect, if you're interested in getting into the yacht brokerage industry, you have a tremendous opportunity there, because you will know yacht owners, you'll know people who want to buy yachts, and as a result, with time, will want to sell their yachts. The network of clients and contacts that you have really puts you in a strong position for yacht brokerage. In short, how important is it for designers to network with brokers instead of shipyards at events and shows? I think most brokers that I know enjoy networking with yacht designers, because yacht designers bring a very different perspective to the business. And I think, being very transparent and frank about this, I think if a yacht designer then starts to very clearly become a broker as well, that's the day that brokers will stop wanting to network with you, because why would they want to introduce you to their clients if then you want to take over and to sell those clients yachts? So I think it's a business where I wouldn't say it's one or the other. I think you can do both, but if you do both, be aware that your days of networking with yacht brokers are limited, or probably pretty much over. I see this happen with shipyards. And again, I'll be very frank. When a shipyard becomes a broker as well, I don't blame them for that at all. I think it's a smart strategy for a yacht builder to have a yacht brokerage section to their business. It makes a lot of sense. But they should be aware that when they do that, yacht brokers are going to be a little bit more standoffish about bringing them their clients, because the cycle of business is this. And let's use a concrete example. Cantiere della Marche, fantastic yachts, top end quality yachts. In my opinion, one of, if not the best quality yacht built in Italy today. Absolutely sensational. And they're very open about the fact that they do brokerage as well. They sell the yachts too. Now, if I have a client who wants to buy an Explorer yacht in that size range, my good conscience tells me I have to show them Cantiere della Marche. I have to, because they're just great boats. And I would take a client to CDM without a doubt. But then I'd be very worried about what happens once the yacht's been built and delivered and they come to resell the yacht. So I guess really for a yacht broker, the challenge is to keep a good relationship with that client, so that when the time comes for him to resell it, he goes to you rather than to the shipyard. I know I've gone a little bit off at a tangent there, but I think it's kind of relevant to the topic. Nick, thanks very much for explaining. My pleasure, Nick. And if you need to know anything else, just drop me a direct message, which you can do at david@yachtsforSaleblog.com. Hendrik says, good to hear. I focus on designer and brokerage. Thanks. Good vrag, Nick. I don't know what that means, but I presume it means good luck. That looks like that's all of the questions that we've got for now. I feel like that was a a free webinar, absolutely packed with information. Do take a look at the masterclass as well, because the feedback that I'm getting from students has been absolutely fantastic so far. I feel like every module in that masterclass is a little capsule of dynamite with lots and lots of information. And so far, the students, we have now, I think, 12 students. No, one of those is me because I've signed myself up. So we have 11 real students who are taking the class. And so far, they're coming back with fantastic feedback. And I do ask them to tell me if things are not right or if there's something that could be done better. I'm also constantly updating information. Every time a new article comes out with interesting information, I upload it to the masterclass. And we now have as well an inner kind of Facebook platform for students of the Yacht Broker Masterclass so that they can exchange information, questions, encourage each other, give feedback. I get very involved with that as well. So it's turning out to be a really cool community for people who genuinely want to become yacht and yacht brokers. You have lifetime access to it. So when you get your first sale done, you can go back to the module that talks about the relevant contract. So I would encourage you all to take a very serious and good look at it. Hendrik has just told me it means good question. Good question in Dutch. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for attending the free webinar. I really have enjoyed doing it, and always feel free to reach out to me if you need more details and more information. Thank you very much, everybody.